You know how sometimes you open your front door and just know something's wrong? Not because of what you see, but because of how it feels. That hush in the air, like the house is holding its breath. That's how this started. With silence. It was a Tuesday. The kind of day you forget unless something makes you remember it. Rain in the morning. Dry by 3. I was starving by 7. She said she was too tired to cook, and I didn't argue. I was too tired to fight. So I did what I always did when our conversations got short and her back turned quicker. I ordered Thai from the place near Maple. Same order we always got. Pad CEW for her, green curry for me. Jasmine rice, 2 spring rolls, no peanuts. I could recite it in my sleep. I paid on the app. Tipped too much. Set my phone down on the counter and forgot it for a while. When the knock came, I was still at the sink, rinsing out a mug she'd left half full of wine from the night before. Her lipstick ring still on the rim. Her glass. Her wine. Her absence. Except she wasn't absent anymore. She walked past me in silence. Not a word. Just drifted past in one of those threadbare shirts she only wore to sleep. No bra. No socks. Hair down. Eyes dry. She didn't even glance at me. And then she opened the door. Before the knock. That's what I keep coming back to. There was no knock. She opened the door before the knock came. The hallway light caught her face, washed her in yellow like some kind of painting. And the man standing there, brown jacket, delivery bag in hand, helmet under one arm, he didn't say a word either. Just stared at her. And then at me. That was when I knew. Not from her face. Not from his. But from the space between them. How quiet it was. How familiar it felt. He was maybe early 30s. Clean-shaven. Slim. I'd seen him once before, months ago. Different restaurant. Same stare. Same hesitation before handing over the bag. Back then I thought it was nothing. A guy zoning out after a long shift. Now I realized it wasn't fatigue. It was recognition. And she wasn't surprised. She didn't smile. Didn't explain. Just froze. Arm still on the doorknob. Her chest barely rising. And I just stood there, soaked in the quiet. I don't remember what happened next exactly. Just fragments. He passed her the food. She took it with both hands like it might fall apart. I turned and walked out. That's it. No questions. No shouting. No denial. Just that moment when she opened the door before the knock. Because she already knew who it was. Because she was expecting him. I drove around for 2 hours after that. Didn't go anywhere. Just circled the same streets like I was trying to lap my own thoughts. Trying to make the world stop spinning long enough to figure out where I'd fallen off. It wasn't even about him. Or whatever had happened. It was about the way she moved. The way she didn't move. Like she'd already said goodbye to me somewhere along the line, and I just missed it. When I got home, the food was still on the counter, untouched. She was in the bedroom with the door closed. The light off. I didn't knock. Just like he didn't. And maybe that's the most damning part. We all stopped knocking. Because we all already knew what was on the other side. There's a strange kind of gravity in a quiet house. The kind that pulls at you sideways. That night, after I came back, I didn't sleep in our bed. Not because we fought. Not because we talked. We didn't say a word. She stayed behind the door. I stayed on the couch, staring at the takeout bag like it was some kind of ticking bomb. Still sealed. Still warm. I didn't throw it out. I didn't touch it either. It sat there on the counter like it was waiting for something. A confession maybe. A crack in the silence. But she never came out. The next morning, I got up early. Earlier than usual. Not to beat traffic. Not to go for a run like I used to when we were trying to be better people. I just couldn't sit still. I moved through the house like a stranger, flipping on lights I didn't need, turning off the ones she left on. All those little rituals we do to feel in control of the chaos. The dining room chair was still pulled out, hers. The one she never pushed in. Her hoodie was slung across the back of it. I picked it up without thinking and caught a scent I didn't recognize. not hers. Something sharper, faint but distinct, like cologne that didn't belong to me. I stood there longer than I should have, inhaling like an idiot, like maybe I could place him by smell. A scent tied to a face I saw for maybe 5 seconds at a doorway. And that's when it really started, this slow autopsy of the life we shared. I wasn't even looking for proof yet. I was just moving. But once you notice something out of place, you can't stop. The next thing feels louder, brighter, like your brain is suddenly tuned to a different frequency and everything's crackling with betrayal. There were 2 empty wine glasses in the sink. We hadn't drunk together in over a week. Her phone was face down on the coffee table. She never leaves it face down. The throw pillow she always hugged when we watched TV was on the floor, like someone sat there instead. I checked the Uber Eats order history. It was gone. Not edited. Not altered. Deleted. Which she never does. That's when I remembered. She didn't ask me what I wanted that night. She always asked. Even when we were mad. I opened the app. Nothing in the recent history. But I hadn't cleared my emails in weeks. I searched my inbox for the confirmation. There it was. Placed at 6:47 p.m. But the delivery showed as completed at 6:58. I remember looking at the clock when I heard her open the door. 6:56. It didn't add up. Unless he was already nearby. Unless it was coordinated. Unless the food wasn't the point at all. I stared at that confirmation email, rereading the address I knew by heart, the name on the receipt, mine, of course, but it felt like it belonged to someone else. Then I checked the driver info. Jason D. Rated 4.9 stars. 3 delivery badges. Bike delivery. Bike. Not car. Which meant he had to be local. Close enough to get there early. Or maybe early because he never left. I tried to shake it off, but it clung to me. I went through the rest of the day in a haze. Work didn't register. I must have sat in front of my screen for hours, moving emails around like puzzle pieces that didn't fit. By lunchtime, I hadn't eaten. I wasn't hungry, just hollow. When I got home, she was in the shower. That mattered, because the shower wasn't running when I walked in. She must have heard the garage, heard the door, and then decided to disappear behind the water. Avoidance dressed up as hygiene. I sat on the edge of the bed, still dressed, listening to the water hit tile, wondering if she was thinking about what I saw, wondering if she was even worried. She came out 15 minutes later, wrapped in a towel, pretending nothing had happened. Her hair was dripping wet. Her eyes didn't meet mine. She walked past without saying a word, like I wasn't there, like she could rinse away the night before and start over. But I hadn't forgotten. That image, her hand on the doorknob, him standing there like he belonged, was burned into the inside of my eyelids. And still, I didn't ask. Because I wasn't ready for the lie. I wanted her to admit it. Without prodding. Without pressure. I wanted her to trip over the truth. But she was too careful. Too quiet. That night, I lay in bed beside her, staring at the ceiling fan spinning in slow circles. She breathed evenly. Calm. Asleep, or pretending. I turned toward her. Her back was to me. She hadn't touched me in weeks. And suddenly, I realized something so small, so stupid, it made my skin crawl. The toothbrush next to mine in the holder, it was new. Not brand new. Just different. Slightly darker shade of blue. I reached for it in the dark and held it in my palm like evidence. Like maybe it wasn't mine. I didn't say anything about the toothbrush, or the wine glasses, or the delivery that didn't need a knock. Instead, I started keeping things to myself, which was new. I used to tell her everything, even when things got hard. Even when we stopped feeling like partners and started feeling like co-tenants who shared a bed and a Netflix login. But now, every new suspicion was mine. A secret I pressed between the pages of my day like a dead leaf. I went to work, came home, smiled on cue, laughed when expected. But underneath, I was listening, watching, collecting. I started by searching him. Jason D. There were a dozen Jason Ds in the city. None of them looked like the man at the door. Not on LinkedIn. Not on Facebook. But I didn't stop there. I opened the Uber Eats app again. Scrolled down to the support section. Found the part where you can thank your driver. I clicked through. Left a 5-star review. Nothing suspicious, and copied the full name that appeared at the top. Jason Delgado. Finally, I Googled it with every filter I knew how to use. Image search, phone directories, public records. Nothing concrete. Just fragments. A LinkedIn profile from years ago that hadn't been updated since 2019. A tag on someone's Instagram post, a group shot at a bar, dim lighting, but unmistakably him. The caption said, "Late Shift Warriors." That was the first breadcrumb. I clicked the poster's profile. Open. Her name was Melanie. Worked at a place called DeLuca's, a 24-hour diner on the south side. Jason wasn't tagged in anything else, but I saw him in the background of another picture a few scrolls down. Same eyes. Same mouth. Same posture. Slouched. Effortless, like nothing ever touched him too deeply. I drove down to DeLuca's the next night. I told myself I was hungry, that I just wanted pancakes and coffee and a distraction. But I parked across the street first. Sat in my car for 20 minutes. Watched the back door open and close. At 9:17, he walked out. Helmet in hand. Brown jacket. Delivery bag slung across his shoulder. I didn't follow him. I followed the space around him. The way other people looked at him. Nodded. Smiled. That easy charisma some guys carry without even trying. I hated how much I could see it. How much I knew she would have seen it. I waited until he left, then walked inside. Sat at the counter. Ordered coffee I didn't drink. Asked the waitress casually, like I wasn't 3 inches from shaking, "Hey, is Jason still around?" Said I'd meet him here. She didn't blink. "Delgado?" "Nah, he just clocked out." Said he had a double. "Works both here and delivery nights." "You a friend?" I smiled. Shrugged. Something like that. The next morning, I asked her, my wife, about the food. Just floated it out like it didn't matter. That Thai place's delivery guy looked kind of familiar the other night. "Did you recognize him?" She didn't miss a beat. "No," she said. Didn't even look up from her laptop. I didn't really notice. But she never misses faces. She remembers cashiers from trips we took 2 years ago. Bartenders from weddings. Uber drivers from vacations. She remembers everyone. Except him. Except the guy she opened the door for before he even knocked. I watched her for a while after that. Started noticing the details that used to slip through. Her phone stayed on silent now. She'd smile at texts, then clear her screen with a single swipe when I walked by. One night she left it on the charger in the kitchen. I waited until she was asleep and scrolled. Nothing suspicious. Nothing overt. Just empty. Too empty. She deleted the threads. Even her group chat with her sister, which she used to talk to daily, was gone. Cleaned like a crime scene. I didn't sleep again that night. Just lay there, staring at the ceiling, thinking about how many things I'd missed. How many versions of her had existed beside me that I never got to meet. And that's when I did it. I made a second Uber Eats account. Different email. Different phone number. Same address. I started ordering small things. One item at a time. A smoothie. A single bagel. An iced coffee. Always from places that offered bike delivery. Always after 8 p.m. I wasn't hungry. I was hunting. Day after day. Order after order. And on the 6th night, it happened. The app showed a familiar face. "Your order is on the way. Delivered by Jason D." I didn't say a word to her. Didn't change my posture. Didn't let my pulse show. I waited by the window. Lights off. Staring through the slats in the blinds. At 8:52 p.m., he pulled up. Parked his bike against the hydrant. Adjusted his jacket. Walked toward our porch like he'd done it 100 times before. But this time, I opened the door. He froze. Just like she had. I stepped out slowly, letting the door shut behind me. No noise. No movement inside. He handed me the bag, his eyes narrowing like he was trying to place me. "Thanks," I said quietly. "You come by here often?" A beat of silence. He gave a half smile. "Just deliveries, man." I nodded. "Right. Just deliveries." And then he turned and walked away like he hadn't just flinched. I watched him go. Watched his shoulders stiffen the farther he got from the house. Like he knew I'd seen something. Like maybe now he was the one who had to look over his shoulder. There's a point where the search for answers stops being about knowing and starts being about understanding. And understanding hurts more. The night I opened the door on Jason, she never asked who had come. Didn't comment on the food left untouched on the kitchen counter. Didn't even notice that the smoothie was something she liked. Not me. It sat there sweating through the plastic until it bled into the countertop. And that's what it felt like. Everything bleeding through. All the things I'd refused to see when I thought what we had was just going through a rough patch. The next morning, I went to the storage room in the garage. Pulled out the old fireproof lockbox we hadn't touched since our mortgage closed. Inside were all the documents of our life. Insurance policies. Lease agreements. Wills we drafted and never finalized. And a receipt. Folded twice. Stuffed behind an envelope from our dentist. It was for a hotel. 3 months ago. Not under her name. Not mine either. But I recognized the last 4 digits of the card. Her backup. The one she said she never used. The one she kept in the junk drawer under the batteries and expired coupons. One night. Midweek. Check-in. 8:19 p.m. Check-out. Not listed. The hotel was only 8 miles from our house. I didn't bring it up. Instead, I studied her. The way she kept her hair tied back now, tight, severe, like she was holding something in place. The way she never left her coffee mug in the sink anymore. Always rinsed it, dried it, put it away. She used to leave trails. A sock by the couch. Earrings on the windowsill. Her presence felt like a weather system moving through the house. Now it was like she'd been erased. Sometimes I'd come home from work and genuinely wonder if she'd been there at all. No smell, no sound, just faint echoes where her life used to be. One evening, she got a call while we were eating. She picked up her phone, saw the name, and silenced it without answering. Then she turned the phone over, set its screen down, and kept chewing like nothing happened. I watched her. Her eyes didn't flicker. Her shoulders didn't tense. Whoever it was, she didn't want to answer, but she also wasn't surprised. So I asked, gently, like it wasn't loaded, "Everything okay?" She didn't look up. "Work stuff. You haven't been on a project in weeks." Now she looked at me. Just for a second. Then, "It's HR. They're doing some restructuring." A pause. Then she added, "They want to talk to people who've been around a while." I nodded slowly. She hadn't been at work in 10 days. I knew because I'd called her office. Left a voicemail for her assistant, pretending I needed to drop something off. The girl on the other end had chirped, "Oh, she's out for a bit. Personal leave." I hadn't told her I knew. Because by then, the lie was the least of it. The bigger thing was how easily she told it. No flinch. No hesitation. Just a clean pivot into fiction. She wasn't even trying to keep me in the loop anymore. Just keeping me quiet. That weekend, she said she was going to a friend's baby shower. I watched her pack the gift the night before painstakingly, with ribbon and glittered tissue paper. The way she used to wrap things when she cared. But the name on the tag wasn't anyone I knew. Not one of her usual friends. And the next morning, she dressed different. Not cute and casual like a baby shower, but deliberate. White blouse, open at the collar. Long coat. Heels I hadn't seen in over a year. I waited until she left. Then I followed her. Not right away. Gave it 15 minutes. Enough time for her to think I was still in bed. She drove west, out of town, past the suburbs, onto the frontage road that runs behind the industrial park. And then she pulled into a parking lot behind a self-storage facility. I parked 2 buildings over. Watched her walk up to a keypad. punching the code like she'd done it 100 times. Unit 143. She opened it, slipped inside, stayed there for exactly 17 minutes. When she came out, her hands were empty. She didn't look around. She didn't need to. She didn't think she was being followed. And why would she? She thought I was asleep, still playing the role of the quiet husband who doesn't ask the wrong questions. She drove off, headed east. I followed for a while, until she hit the freeway. Then I looped back, parked by the storage facility, watched the security camera's sweep pattern, waited until it turned away. Then I walked to Unit 143. A silver padlock hung from the latch. New. No rust. I wrote down the number, took a photo of the keypad. Didn't try to break in. Not yet. Instead, I sat back in my car and asked myself the only question that still mattered. If she's hiding things here, what if she already moved out of the house? I didn't go back to the storage unit for 3 days. Not because I forgot Dot. Because I needed to be sure I wouldn't flinch. I spent those days watching her. Not like a husband. Not even like a stranger. Like a man who was leaving. She still made her tea in the morning. Still hummed under her breath sometimes while she stirred the honey. Still wore the same sweater with the loose thread on the sleeve. But none of it meant anything anymore. It was just the choreography of a life already halfway out the door. Wednesday afternoon, I rented a unit in the same facility, 1 row over from hers. Told the clerk I was helping a friend move. Paid in cash. Signed the form with my middle name. Then I waited. She didn't go back that week. Not that I saw. But that's the thing about a place like that. People always assume no one's watching. They don't move carefully. They move confidently. On Saturday, I returned just after 7 a.m. The lot was empty. The sun low and white behind the chain-link fence. I brought bolt cutters. Bought them at a hardware store 30 minutes away, cash only. It took 2 minutes. The lock snapped clean. And then I opened the door to Unit 143. What I saw didn't make sense. Not at first. Not because it was shocking. But because it was so ordinary. A chair. A cheap folding table. A throw blanket we used to keep on our couch, frayed at the edges, coffee stain on the corner. A mirror. Makeup bag. Compact fridge plugged into the wall outlet. And in the corner, a mattress. Just a twin. Clean sheets. Pillows stacked with intention. This wasn't storage. This was shelter. It was a place to be. To exist. To hide. There was no luggage. No packed boxes. No photos. No plans. Just the suggestion of someone who came here to disappear for a while. To not be seen. I sat on the edge of the mattress. Pressed my hand to the center. Still held her warmth. I stood, opened the fridge. 2 bottles of water. 1 half-drunk. A small pack of strawberries. A folded napkin with a phone number on it. No name. Then, on the inside flap of the door, scrawled in pen. He doesn't knock. That's when it hit me. Jason didn't have to knock, Dot. He never knocked. Because she wasn't just seeing him. She was living with him, Dot. Part-time. In the hours that didn't belong to me. This wasn't a secret hideout. It was their space. A place built in the margin of our marriage. I took the note. Left everything else untouched. On the drive home, I didn't cry. Didn't scream. Didn't play music or call anyone or rehearse a confrontation in my head. I just drove. And when I got back, she was already at the table. Laptop open. Bowl of granola in front of her. The sun pouring through the window like nothing had happened. She looked up at me like she always did. Like I was background noise. And I saw it for what it was. Not cruelty. Not even guilt. Just disinterest. The kind that eats you slow. Hey, she said casually. You were up early. I nodded. Had an errand. She didn't ask what. Because she didn't want to know. And I didn't offer it. Because now I knew everything I needed to. I walked past her, upstairs, and into the guest room. Grabbed the duffel I used for business trips. Started folding clothes with clinical precision. Button-downs, jeans, socks in pairs. I didn't pack angry. I packed quiet. When I zipped it up, I walked back down and set it near the door. She noticed. Finally. "What's that?" she asked, blinking like she'd just woken up. "I'm leaving," I said. Silence. Then she swallowed. Hard. "Wait, what do you mean? Where are you going?" Her voice had that note of urgency. Not regret. Not fear. Just the realization that something irreversible had just happened. "You can stay," I said. "This house isn't home anymore." She stood, knocked her chair back by accident, stepped around the table like she might try to block the door. But she didn't, because she knew that wouldn't change anything. She'd already opened the door. She just didn't expect me to walk through it. I reached into my pocket, pulled out the slip of paper with her handwriting on it, held it out. She took it. "Read it." Her mouth parted, but she didn't speak, because she remembered writing it, and she knew I'd been there. I watched her eyes flicker between me and the paper. Her face didn't crumble. She didn't beg. She just froze. And that's what broke me most. Not the affair. Not the storage unit or the silence or the way she'd rinsed me out of her daily life like I was a stain on her favorite sweater. It was the stillness. How even now, when the knock had already come, she couldn't bring herself to move. So I did what she couldn't. I opened the door. And I left. It's been 47 days. She hasn't called. She hasn't texted. Not once. I thought maybe I'd get a half-hearted apology. A voicemail she didn't mean to send. A "you misunderstood," laced with just enough poison to sound like care. But no. She let me walk out the door, and the door stayed closed. And that told me everything I needed to know about who she really was. I didn't go far. Rented a room downtown above a garage that smells like oil and regret. Thin walls. Bare bulbs. A mattress that creaks when I turn over. But it's mine. There's no second toothbrush on the sink. No wine glasses in the drying rack. No thrown-off hoodie on the chair. It's not quiet, but it's empty. And that's better, because now when I hear footsteps in the hallway, I know they're not hers. Now when the knock comes, I don't brace for the feeling that I'm about to disappear from my own life. There is no us anymore. Just me. The first week, I still checked her socials. Just to see. She'd gone private. Like I'd never existed. No tagged photos. No status updates. Nothing public at all. Not even with him. I wondered, at first, if he moved in. If he took the space I vacated. If he sat in my chair and wore my silence like a crown. But then I realized, it doesn't matter. That story isn't mine anymore. It never was. I see her sometimes in my head, though. Mostly when it's raining. That image of her standing in the hallway, hand on the doorknob, frozen in time. She never moved. That's what I keep coming back to. She didn't speak, didn't explain, didn't chase. She just stood there and let it all collapse without lifting a single finger. That's not weakness. That's choice. And it's the kind of choice you don't come back from. Last week, I drove by the storage facility. Not to stop. Not to check. Just to feel something. The unit was empty. The padlock gone. Her number painted over. Like it was never there. Like I'd imagined it. She must have cleared it out the week after I left. Quietly. Efficiently. Same way she cleared me out of her life. And honestly, I don't blame her. Some people mourn. Some people run. She just erased. Sometimes I wonder when she made the decision. Was it the first time she met him? The first time she lied? Or before that, some slow erosion neither of us noticed until it left us standing on different sides of the same room, both wondering when the other stopped trying? There's no big moment, I think. Just the quiet. The little nothings that pile up until one day, you realize you don't recognize the person sleeping beside you. And they don't recognize you either. They just know your routine, your order from the Thai place, the way you clear your throat before you speak, the fact that you always tip too much. But not you. Never you. That's what makes betrayal so insidious. It's not the lie. It's the fact that they knew you'd believe it. The first week I was gone, I left the front door unlocked every night. Just once. Just for a second. Part of me wanted her to come. Not to say sorry. Just to say anything. But she didn't. And eventually, I started locking the door again. Because I finally understood. I hadn't left a woman who betrayed me. I'd left a woman who stopped seeing me long before the betrayal ever started. And now, I live a life with no second pair of shoes by the door. No toothbrush that changes color. No takeout bags left sweating on the counter. I open the door when I want to. I don't wait for knocks. And when the silence comes now, it's mine. It doesn't hurt anymore. It just echoes, like footsteps in a hallway that no one walks anymore. And that's okay. Some doors are meant to stay shut, especially the ones we keep opening for people who already live somewhere else. Thanks for watching. If this story pulled you in, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss the next confession. Until next time, take care and watch who you trust.